My American friends, in this moment of passion and confusion, as we have just witnessed the brutal attacks on several US embassies throughout the Arab world, it's important to avoid any further misunderstanding and to clarify our position. This is why I come here today to tell the American community living in Tunisia that we strongly condemn and regret the violence that took place during Friday demonstration. I assure my American friends that you are welcome here in Tunisia, and we will save no effort in protecting you and make you feel at home. What happened on Friday is not Tunisia. All Tunisians have been deeply shocked by the attacks on the American embassy and American school that we are currently repairing to make it operational in a couple of days. Tunisians do firmly reject and disapprove of the action of a group of extremists who are at the origin of loss of 4 casualties and dozens of injured people. A number of them are civilians and members of the national security forces and the army. Tunisians do resent these extremists for hijacking the image of a people who have, throughout history, valued moderation, pluralism, and tolerance. To the people of the United States, I want to say how much we condemn and regret the fact that Tunisian and Arab extremists have attacked your embassies. No idea, no speech, no artistic or non-artistic creation, no matter how bad or offensive they might be, could justify such an unacceptable violence. The death of Ambassador Christopher Stevens in Libya is a tragic loss for all of us and a dramatic threat to the prospects of democracy and peace in the Arab world. We also denounce the fact that an extremist individual linked to a far-right religious movement has committed such an offense on our values and symbols in such a gratuitous and aggressive manner. Be assured that we do not lump together few extremist individuals and the entire American people. Neither do we wish to see Tunisian people reduced to a group of religious radicals. Let us all be aware of the traps into which extremists from both sides want us to fall. The paradigm of the war of civilization is dead, and although lots of uncertainty lie ahead of us, one thing is sure. As President Barack Obama underlined last week, there is no them versus us, it's just us. In view of the flow of anxiety and questions triggered by the recent violence, I want to clarify 3 elements. First, there has been intense debate within Muslim majority countries over the place and meanings of religious symbols for many years, and the Arab revolutions have only accentuated this thirst for discussion and free speech. Questions over the meaning of the sacred, about the representation of companions of the Prophet in Egypt, or about paintings and plays in Tunisia, have been at the center of our public debates for the past couple of years. These discussions have indeed triggered a lot of passion, but they have never caused the type of violence we witnessed last week, simply because these are polemics that developed indigenously from the heart of society, in families, universities, unions, parties. People in Muslim majority countries do not need the external provocation of an obscure agitator to prompt a debate about religious freedom and freedom of speech. This debate is taking place already. Let us continue having this debate in our own terms, at our own pace. Second, a lot has been said in the past days about the importance of free speech and about the so-called inability of people in Muslim countries to accept criticism and deal with freedom of speech. Let me be clear. When it comes to dealing with universal values, there are no differences between people in the Muslim world and people in the West. Universal norms should not apply differently, be it in the Muslim world or elsewhere. We fully support and advocate freedom of speech. But all international charters and agreements are clear. The exercise of the freedom carries with it duties and responsibilities. The United Nations Human Rights Council and the European Court of Human Rights have condemned gratuitous advocacy of religious hatred and intolerance. They have expressed clear concerns over action that target individuals solely on the basis of their belief. International treaties and organizations value freedom of expression to the extent that it can contribute to public debate and to improve human relations. The issue is not whether the offensive movie is blasphemous or not. The fact is that this type of expression is completely counterproductive and goes against our mutual interests. Third, the West and the Muslim world go through the same process and share a number of values. It is time for extremists from both sides to be held accountable for the recent flow of violence. Since September 11, Western and Islamist extremists have managed to pose as the only legitimate guardians of morality and national interests. It's time to deconstruct this narrative and to ask these extremists from the West and the Muslim world to be responsible for their statements and actions. Religious extremists in the West do not have the monopoly of the nation's security or people's welfare. Their disrespectful action jeopardizes Western interests and reputation. Neither do religious extremists in the Muslim world have the monopoly on public morality or on people's future. Their actions do hinder the process of democratic transition and ruin our image abroad. In this time of challenge and uncertainty, it's crucial for both individuals and nations to stifle all these dangerous attempts to regenerate the so-called clash of civilization. Let us stand firm in our belief in a world that is increasingly interconnected, interdependent, and united. Thank you.